Well, we're in Revelation 13 for Corona Chronicles today, and we're actually going to see what's really going on in this world, the lies that the devil, Satan, the dragon, is actually communicating with the world, and how he does it. Quite frightening passage, this, but really helpful for us to know how to live in this world. So, Revelation 13, verses 1 to 5. The dragon stood on the shore of the sea, and I saw a beast coming out of the sea. It had 10 horns and 7 heads, with 10 crowns on its horns, and on each head a blasphemous name. The beast I saw resembled a leopard, but had feet like those of a bear, and a mouth like that of a lion. The dragon gave the beast his power, and his throne, and great authority. One of the heads of the beast seemed to have had a fatal wound, but the fatal wound had been healed. The whole world was filled with wonder and followed the beast. People worshipped the dragon because he had given authority to the beast, and they also worshipped the beast and asked, "Who is like the beast? Who can wage war against it?" The beast was given a mouth to utter proud words and blasphemies, and to exercise its authority for 42 months. Well, there's some stuff here. I mean, in one sense, you want to do the whole chapter, but we've not got too much time on Corona Chronicles, so we're doing these first 5 verses. Well, what do you reckon?
I mean, yeah. So your little intro there, saying that Satan just is a liar, and the only thing he can do really is copy. He can't create anything on his own. So if you were to look at this without sort of much understanding of Christianity, I suppose, like the Godhead and the Trinity, you would go, what on earth is going on here? But if you do try and compare it to what God is like, then suddenly you see what he's doing, and he is copying God here, isn't he? Because there's this unholy Trinity that you can see. There's the dragon, who sort of sends this beast, calls him out of the sea, and that's like the Father calling sort of the Son, sending the Son. And then this other beast there's a third beast, so there's this sort of unholy Trinity going on.
Yeah, John Calvin, the great sort of Reformed theologian, said that the devil, or Satan, is God's ape.
Yeah.
He just apes everything, because he's not an original, and he's not a creator.
Yes.
He's just a mimic, and a very bad one.
Yeah, and as you keep reading, it is like a really awful tribute act, isn't it? Because you can kind of tell it's trying to copy something, but it's doing it really poorly. So, in verse 3, one of the heads of the beast seemed to have a fatal wound, but the fatal wound had been healed. So, kind of like Christ on the cross, his fatal wound there, and then rising from the dead. Obviously, Satan can't do that. So here is this fatal wound that seems to have been healed. It's sort of just trying to be like Christ.
And I mean, I don't know whether you know the Narnia tales, but you get this picture. C.S. Lewis pictures this
Puzzle,
sort of You've got this wicked ape actually, who wants to. He's found a lion skin, and he wants to convince people to follow his ways, and he puts this lion skin very badly on Puzzle, the donkey. And everybody sort of falls for it, so that the ape can get people doing, because they think this is Aslan, the great lion, and you can see where Lewis got this from. It's here, isn't it?
Yeah, and I guess the only reason the Narnians went for the Puzzle was because he looked like a lion.
Yeah.
And I guess Satan knows the only way people will sort of worship him is if he resembles in some way God. So you've even got in verse 2 that he's got a mouth like that of a lion. And we know that Jesus, the Word of God, is the lion sort of Judah. So even in that regards, he's trying to look like Jesus.
Yes, and speak out his words to influence people.
Yeah.
And really, this is what this little section is about, because if we don't know there's a liar who's representing even good, I mean, he might look good. I mean, they worship him, don't they? It says in verse 4, people worship the dragon because he'd given authority to the beast, and they also worship the beast and asked, Who is like the beast? Who could wage war against? You know, he's the secure one. No one can beat him.
Yeah.
He's the great God. So he's looking good,
Mm-hmm.
but his whole approach is that of deception, of lies, of cover-up, of taking us away from the real God. And that's what this is saying, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess it's he understands that people are made in God's image. We're made to be in relationship with him. We're made to worship him. So rather than sort of, he's feeding into that sort of need that we have as humans to worship something, and he's fooling us. He's blinded us, isn't he? He's blinded the minds of this generation. He's not creating a new need in us. He's identified our need to worship God, and has just thrown a cover over himself and saying, "Look, I'm God."
Yeah, yeah. So actually, you can have people that follow Satan that are really very, very wicked, and we'll see that, I think, in other parts of this chapter, are doing extraordinary wicked things. But you can have just really good, very nice, really good neighbours that are living in this world but not worshipping God, not actually loving Christ. And they've been bamboozled, they've been lied to. They're, in one sense, they're Satan's victory. Yeah. The drug addict and the sort of alcoholic whose whole life is ruined by lies of drugs and alcohol. You can see, in one sense, that's Satan's sort of failure, isn't it? Yeah. But the good, living businessman, banker, faithful worker, but he's not living for God. Yeah. In one sense, Satan's won there, hasn't he?
Because, of course, if you spoke to that banker, he would say, well, of course I'm worshipping the lion. Look at him, he's right there. He's the one who I'm serving. Yeah. I'm doing fine, what's wrong with me?
Yeah, yeah. What else have we got here? So he resembles Christ. He's certainly mimicking Christ. And I guess, Jesus warns, doesn't he, that there will be false prophets coming, and people that say, follow me, and people that claim to have a way to God. So there's religion here as well, isn't there?
Yeah. And in verse 5, we've got this comfort yet again that it's for a limited time only. He's given this authority for 42 months. So it's not forever, it's for a set time, and God is in control and overseeing all of this.
Okay, well, we'll leave it there, and I think we'll come back a little later.